Hello, WordNerds! Happy Sunday and welcome to our super fabulous murder mystery night. Tonight we will be having an in-character intrigue, deception adventure of some kind. I'm just going to start off with a couple of out-of-character notes before we jump in. First off, no accusing anyone of murder, at least until the end when the story draws to a close. Just kind of giving everyone a chance to play through it, even if you're sure you know who did it. Just wait until the end. We're planning to play for about an hour and a half tonight, at which point everyone will be invited to make their guesses about who the murderer is. If it's super obvious or super impossible, I apologize. I have never murdered before. So just have fun with your character and we will make the most of it. Whether or not you're participating, you are totally welcome to chat in the discussion section. If you're talking as the character that I gave you, if you'd already reached out to me, I just ask that you write it in kind of like a writing fiction. Sara says blank, or Sara goes to sit in the old armchair at the back of the room, just so that if anyone's talking out of character, just as themselves. Anything that's not that isn't part of the story. The characters that all of the WordNerds will be playing have no obligation to tell the truth, but we're asking that any of the viewer characters do, because my brain will not be able to keep up with if you're saying something different than what I put in. So we're just, you're all honest folk, and we're going with that. I think that's close to it. Oh, just be careful not to, you're welcome to improv anything past what I sent you, just adding anything onto your character. Just make sure you're not adding anything to the story you don't know to be true. So no saying you saw someone somewhere if it wasn't part of the character sheet, or saying you heard someone say something that wasn't part of the story. Again, it's all going to get very muddled anyway, so just try to keep it fairly straightforward. So, with all of that being said, my name is Detective Bellwood, and I will be leading this investigation. I will be asking each of the guests in attendance at this manor to come down to the library, introduce themselves, and let me know where you were at the time of the crime. At which point, you'll be asked to just stay in the library while my team goes and interviews the house's staff. So, let's see who we should start with. I think the owner of this establishment makes sense.
Why, hello, y'all. I'm Eleanor James. I am the owner of the manor and the hostess of this retreat. I am just so frightfully sorry for all of these things that are happening. This is definitely not in the plans.
And where were you when all of this?
I was in my office.
Okay, I'll just get our next guest here.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself? Just who are you?
Oh, you haven't heard of me?
No, I'm sorry.
Let me just let you know. I'm Joni Gray. I am a lifestyle influencer. I write about travel and fashion. I'm very well known. You maybe you just don't recognize me right now, but you've probably heard of me.
I'll be sure to Google you. And where were you at the time of the crime?
I was outside. I was on the phone with my mom. I know we weren't supposed to have our phones, but I just really needed to talk to her. And that's when I saw Claire fall from the window. I can't talk about it anymore. Sorry.
Okay. And next up.
Hi, I'm Lilith Von Eden. I'm a mystery novelist. How are you doing today?
I think we've all been better.
Yeah.
And where were you at the time of the crime?
At the time of the crime, I had actually just spoken to the victim. She was behaving very erratically and tried to get into my room. She'd been following me a lot lately. It was generally very concerning. And so I had actually just left her near my room and had gone downstairs to find Eleanor to report that maybe there had been a stalking situation going on.
Okay, next up.
Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Madeline Pendergrast. I am the New York Times bestseller of the series The Copper Queen, which is is supposed to be a 3-part series for young adults. I will not be taking any questions about the sequels at this time. I realize that this is a main focal point. But I am here to clear the record and say that I was not involved in this situation.
And where were you when this situation occurred?
I was in the front hallway. I overheard Lilith and Claire speaking. And Lilith was running quite fast away from the room, so I decided to follow her to make sure that nothing was wrong, and was in the front hallway when I heard the commotion.
Okay.
Hi. I'm Kennedy Vaughn. I'm a psychologist that was supposed to speak tomorrow about writing better characters. I actually just got here earlier today, so I haven't had a chance to really meet anyone yet. Hi.
And where were you when all of this occurred?
I was in my room.
Okay. And finally.
Oh, hi. I'm Liz. I'm Liz Wilson. I'm just an aspiring writer. Yeah.
And where were you when all of this?
Oh, right. I was in the library because I was like really inspired by everybody at dinner. Like there's so many big names here and I'm so excited to like meet everyone. And so I just had to go to the library and I was just like arranging some of my notes and stuff, like all of these cool inspirations for like the fantasy story I'm probably going to write. But yeah, I don't know anything that happened. I just heard screams and then I ran out of the library and I saw like everybody outside. It was horrible.
Okay. Well, my team is going to go speak to the staff. I'm going to leave you all here. We ask that you do not leave the library until we have time to figure out some of what is happening here and get everybody's statements.
Well, let me be the first to say that I am just so sorry that this is all happening. But there was some peculiar things happening. I was the one that called 911, and I saw the body outside on the ground. What did everybody see before? Did anybody see anything before you heard the screaming?
I mean, I saw her fall. It was awful. I can't imagine what would bring someone to do something like that. Maybe this is just me, but I feel like this is just a publicity stunt gone wrong.
Very wrong.
Someone's dead, Madeline, so I would say very wrong.
Well, I've had my house broken into this last week from some crazed fan wanting the sequel. So I can't imagine it would be the same person, probably not Claire, but just somebody's out there, and I don't feel safe being here anymore. Eleanor, I will fully admit that.
You think she was pushed?
Well,
I mean, she had to be, right?
I mean, people jump from windows all the time, as did one of the victims in my third best-selling novel.
Do you think she did it as like a coffee cat? Because she was obsessed with you, Lilith. I'm pretty sure, at least.
I think we probably need more details.
Yes, Lilith.
Madeline.
Well, has anybody seen this Jordan around here?
Jordan.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is your name Joni?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You would know that.
I'm not on the internet much lately.
Gray? Oh my god.
I'm not on the internet much lately. I've been taking a long break.
You don't say.
I sincerely apologize.
Who are you again?
Oh, well, a couple of years ago, I had a YA bestseller on the New York Times. It even got made into a movie, actually. You might have heard of it. It's the Copper Queen series. It was very big, especially in Europe.
Joni was probably in middle school when that came out.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
How old are you again? Are you even allowed to be here?
I don't know.
According to that answer, it doesn't even seem like you belong here.
Well,
I
Madeline,
mean, it's not like you've written a book in a while either, it sounds like. So
12 years, right?
At least,
You can't.
I have a book deal in the works. So
Well, you
7
can't
figures
rush
from what I
genius. And it seems like if you're having one come out so fast, maybe you would have, I don't know, a ghostwriter.
no, I would not have a ghostwriter. I will write my own book. Thank you.
At least we can agree on
Or
that.
else, why would I be at this writing retreat?
Joni, you mentioned that you were outside, right? On the phone.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know we were not supposed to have our phones, but I really needed to speak with my mother. I've been having a hard time, and I really needed to talk to her. And I just think it's really unfair that you took our phones from us. It's almost like you didn't want us to be able to communicate with the outside world. It's a little suspicious to me.
That is kind of the point of a writer's retreat, to get away from distractions. But I took everybody's phone when you arrived, and I put them in my office. So when did you have time to go and get your phone?
I think the better question is, how are you still communicating with the outside world? Do you have contact with people too?
I used the phone in my office to call 911, and that was the only contact I've had with the outside world since all of you have arrived here.
Oh, really? Is it? Because when I went and got my phone from the office, I happened to see that you had an odd email. Does the name Jay Evans sound familiar? What's that about? Maybe I should talk to the detective about that email.
Jane Evans. I can't say that I've ever heard of that person
from the newspaper. Speaking of publicity stunts, Madeline, I think you might have mentioned that. Our host Eleanor was in touch with someone from the newspaper.
Madeline, what were you doing after dinner?
I was upstairs when I came across Claire and Lilith arguing. Of course, I didn't quite hear what it was about, but there was a lot of shouting, and Lilith had run across the room very fast, and I was following her downstairs to make sure that she was okay.
It was very upsetting. I have an avid readership, but I've never really been confronted by fans before.
I don't know the details in some of your books. I love your books, by the way, but they're very detailed murders.
I'm a very good researcher who had a little too much free time as a child.
Lilith, what were you arguing about with Claire?
Oh, she was saying the strangest things. She just kept asking me questions about the tiniest details in my novels. She wanted to know about red herrings, about how many pages I put between plot points. So when I went up there, she was just standing outside my door, which, given her earlier behavior, was a little concerning. And having written my fair share of creepy, obsessed murders, I kept my distance and asked what she was doing there. And she made some excuses and just walked away. And then that was before dinner. Then during dinner, I think you'll remember, I think it was Liz I was talking to. I mentioned that she was being really creepy. And so afterwards, I went back up to my room to change for the evening activities. If you're a fan of my work, you'll know I like to play up the theatrics of being a mystery novelist. And so I like to have outfit changes. And so I went up to change, and she confronted me in my room, like she was in there. And she was holding a copy of one of my books and just asking me a lot of questions, and it made me feel extremely uncomfortable. And so that was when I left to go get Eleanor, because this was obviously not a safe environment for me and for any of us, if that's the case.
Lilith, I know that when we first met, you mentioned that my writing really inspired you and your career. And just from my own experience, fans can be absolutely, they can be unhinged sometimes. I'm so sorry that you had to experience this in such a a traumatic manner for the first time that you've had a fan encounter. It's just so horrible. Hope maybe we can pass on our wisdom to Liz when she becomes a New York Times bestseller.
Oh, definitely.
Let's go into hiding.
Yes, like us both.
Taking so many notes right now. Oh yeah. It's funny because I always thought of this lifestyle as very glamorous, but it sounds like she was under a lot of pressure, and people sometimes do things and say things that their public persona is very different than what they're actually like in real life.
Well, knowing her past career, she probably was tired of not having her real name in the spotlight.
Became unhinged, you could even say. Interesting. What was she doing in your room? Why was she having one of your books, Lilith?
I wish I could tell you. I wish I knew.
Which book was it?
It was, I'm not sure. Let me just look at my diary really quick and see.
You have so many titles, so.
I do, yes.
Ladies.
Yes, I do.
Ladies,
So
there's
many
over
titles
there.
that it almost feels like you'd need help from a ghostwriter or something to write all that. How do you write so much, so prolific?
I do write quite a bit. I've only ever run into a problem one time. And I'm not ashamed to admit that during that one book, I did need to seek a little assistance. Not a full amount of assistance, but a little. But other than that, I do write all of my own works. And it's my full-time job, and I really care about giving my readers something as often as possible because they're so devoted to me, and I feel like I owe that to them.
Did Claire give you any advice, maybe, for the book you were struggling with, and then thought that she had contributed?
No, I had consulted with someone named Genevieve. Genevieve Potts.
Oh, okay.
Madeline, you've never needed a ghostwriter, have you?
No, I haven't. I prefer to do it, the old-fashioned way.
Get your next book out if you had a ghostwriter.
Well, yeah, that I want to be authentic. I feel like my readership
have a book
for. I mean, yes, it's been a while, but readership for the Copper Queen is still quite active and yes, hopeful. I hope to have something out. Oh, local. Oh, I see. Well, I'm sure the entire fandom is hopeful for a new book. It will be out soon. I've just been going through a lot of stuff in the last little while, as writers do.
I'm sure the pressure must be unreal to deliver something satisfying for your readers.
Yes, especially after the first movie hit, box office success, there is a lot of pressure.
Oh, what was that? I just heard Taylor saying that, Madeline, that you were ranting about how terrible ghostwriters are during the critique group.
Well, yes,
you
of course.
have something against Claire,
maybe
a little suspicious to me.
Well, all right, I'll come clean. I have met Claire before as Genevieve Potts. She is a ghostwriter,
so
one
she
and the
wrote
same.
the end of my book.
I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be rude.
She asked me in my room. She asked if I knew who she was.
And you said you didn't.
No.
And then she was angry?
I mean, I knew she was Claire.
Interesting.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a ghostwriter as a profession, though. I mean, we know as well as maybe not you, Madeline, but a lot of us know that it's very hard to make a living as a writer, and ghostwriting is a really valuable opportunity for so many people.
Perhaps. I just feel like it's inauthentic, and one should be as authentic as possible when presenting their own works.
Or not presenting them.
How are things in here?
Splendid.
Tense.
I mean, either Claire jumped or someone in this house did it. So I'm just really uncomfortable being here with these people, honestly.
How long do we have to stay?
Probably about another 20 minutes, depending on how you answer this
Sounds like
question.
Joey is accusing us of murder, which is not how you portray yourself on your platform. That's a little shocking.
I'm sorry. It's the truth, though. I mean, someone either, like I said, either Claire jumped or someone had to have done this. I don't think she would have just, fallen. That doesn't seem
maybe
likely.
all of those accusations against her being a ghostwriter, maybe her conscience made her jump. Or maybe someone
Are
with
you
a vendetta
arguing that
against them.
ghostwriters are somehow immoral for their profession?
Well, no. Claire was a
Or
fine person.
Inauthentic, maybe. Not showing their true selves, you know, to the rest of the world.
Oh,
No, you're sounding an awful lot like a villain in a mystery novel.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't write mystery.
Oh, not you.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not the one with all the gory details.
Those are easy enough to research later. Sometimes, as I'm sure Kennedy knows, the best characters are drawn from reality.
Bold words, Lilith, considering someone's dead outside.
Yeah.
Kennedy, you're a psychologist. Like, any insight into, does anyone here seem like they might be the sort of person to do something like this? It's hard to believe that someone you interacted with could hurt someone else.
Unfortunately, people who are capable of doing this kind of thing tend to be able to hide it very well in a group setting. It's getting them one-on-one and getting the facts is when you tend to actually get more of an understanding of them.
Detective Bellwood, do you have anything more to say to the group of us?
I'm not sure I'm required to report anything to you. I just wanted to ask if anyone had anything to report about how Claire was acting. Do we have any reason to believe she was upset, that anything was wrong? This is to anyone else in the room as well. Just anything you know that might be helpful.
Well,
I overheard Taylor saying that even though that Liz is a newbie writer, her and Claire were getting together quite often, but feeling awkward with one another. So, Liz, do you want to comment on that?
We were in some of the same writer group circles when we both lived in New York. I didn't know her really well, but I know she did say that she brought a book with her before we sat down to dinner that she wanted to get signed, and she had ghostwritten it for someone here. But we didn't get a chance before dinner started for me to even ask who that was.
Lilith, that must have been
Do you
your
think
book.
it must have been my book? Yeah. It must have been the one
so.
she was so upset. Why did she sound so upset?
She seemed
By the time she was in my room.
She didn't seem off to me at dinner, just like excited, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'll say, I haven't mentioned this yet, but Claire and I were going to talk tomorrow. Like, we made plans. So I really don't think she would have hurt herself because she was making plans for tomorrow. We were going to chat about writing, and she was going to maybe, help me out a little bit with fleshing out my ideas.
So was she ghostwriting for you then, if she was helping you?
She mentioned the possibility, but like I said, I'm not totally comfortable with that. But, I would have maybe, like I said, accepted a little help coming up with ideas. I wanted to talk to her a little bit more about it,
What were you talking to your mom about?
Oh, just how hard it is, writing. It's so hard to just
Being
get
famous.
those books done, It is really difficult.
So
There's so much pressure after my 7-figure book deal to actually get this book finished,
So you decided to call your mother instead of talking to the literal house full of other writers.
Well, I don't really know any of you. I know my mother. She knows me best,
Detective Bellwood, will we be allowed to have legal counsel? Are we under trial here?
No one is under arrest. No one is in any trouble, but we just want to get all of the details. Our photographers are outside taking pictures of the crime scene. Lilith, it looks as though it was your balcony that she fell from.
It was, yes. It's very concerning to me as well.
And
You had left the room.
I had left the room. Yes, I had gone downstairs and I was in the kitchens looking for Eleanor because it was just after dinner.
Just a quick note for Vanessa in the comments. Ghostwriting is when you pay someone to write your book for you, but like it's a celebrity will have a ghostwriter write a book and then it's still under the celebrity's name kind of thing. And they sometimes do it in tandem and like the ghostwriter just does the kind of writing finesse, or sometimes they write all of it.
Out of character, I have a whole video on the WordNerd channel.
Kennedy, were you supposed to arrive today?
Yeah, because I didn't speak until tomorrow. My plans had been to arrive today, and I got here just before dinner. I ran into Claire very briefly in the front hall with someone who didn't introduce themselves, but Claire and I had planned to meet later tonight to discuss some things.
Well, it sounds like Claire had plans with many people.
Mm-hmm. So there's another person, not any of us, that was here.
I'm unsure. I
didn't get a good look.
Detective Bellwood,
No.
can you give us
I was looking at
numbers?
maybe I forgot to send Helen one of her notes, so can someone tell me what just happened?
I had asked Kennedy why she came at the time that she did, and she told us about having plans with Claire and how she saw Claire with someone else, but could not determine who that someone else was.
We just weren't clear if it was anyone in this room. Like, would she recognize us now?
She had plans with Claire.
Like, she saw Claire in the hall with someone.
And they were going to
She was
meet to
supposed
talk
come
about
see me
something.
later. Yes.
Like, are all these are all the authors on the retreat?
There are other people. The people.
There are other authors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone in the comments is also an author at the retreat here.
Yeah. Taylor said, did anyone else see Lilith going downstairs looking for Eleanor while Claire was flying off her balcony? And Madeline, you mentioned you were following me, right?
I was going to ask Lilith if you
following
saw
you.
Madeline following you. It seems
I
like
did
you had
not.
noticed her at that point, because it sounds like she was outside your room right before.
I didn't see anyone
Oh,
outside
so.
my room.
Well, it seemed Lilith was quite distressed and was moving away from me, so I just saw the back of her. But I wanted to follow her down because it seemed like she was in quite a lot of distress. I didn't realize Claire was still in the room.
Before we go any further, my team has just brought it to my attention that Miss Von Eden, would you like to share with any of us that you two are in fact cousins, or were you just going to keep that to yourselves?
Excuse me?
Could I not send you that note? Helen definitely has it.
I have it. I have a hard time.
It is in your notes. That's not on me.
It's always weird for me when everyone around
Oh, I
refers
thought
to
you
you
said
as
Claire.
Lilith.
I'm so sorry. Detective Bellwood. I was like, what?
No, me.
Yes,
So there
yes.
are more things that you're lying about.
Yes, Kennedy and I are cousins. I just didn't think it was particularly important information.
Relevant to the occasion.
From here on out, why don't we just assume that everything is relevant to the occasion until we find out what it is we're dealing with here. Is there anything else anyone feels that might be important to share? So Liz Wilson, as far as I can tell, you are not actually a real person. So
Excuse me, that's sort of offensive.
we took your identification, which would you like to speak about this in private, or is there anything you'd like to share with the group?
Fine, I guess it's not that big of a deal. I'm not a wannabe writer, I'm a journalist. And I'm doing a nonfiction book on celebrities.
Are you by chance the journalist that Eleanor James was emailing?
I reached out to Eleanor to begin with. It's not Eleanor's fault. She was kind enough to accommodate me since we are old friends from high school.
I
sounds
have
like
already
you had
given a
something to
statement
hide.
that I will not be speaking of any other sequels. This is why I have been off social media for as long as I have. Can you people just not leave me alone?
I have something that I feel like I need to bring up. Gia just pulled me aside while you guys were talking about that and mentioned that, Madeline, you were in the library reading after Claire's body was found, and that she had to tell you that Claire was dead.
Yes, after I followed you downstairs and I was in the front hallway, I turned into the library I couldn't find you, so I decided to sit down and gather my thoughts, and that's when Gia came and found me. The commotion started soon after.
Interesting.
Liz, weren't you also in the library?
You might as well call me Jane. That's my real name.
I guess the jig is up.
Uh-huh.
Jane, you were in the library, right?
I was in the library rearranging some of my more interesting notes, yes.
Did you happen to see Madeline?
No, I didn't see anybody. I was kind of tucked away in the corner because, obviously don't want anyone to see my notes and some of the pictures I've taken. So I kind of absconded to the corner and didn't see anybody there at all.
I will say, Jane, you are quite a good journalist, as I did not see you either. So I suppose running away from journalists for the last few years, I've lost my touch.
Oh, I have plenty of good quotes from you. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you'll send along any photographs for us to sign off on before you publish our faces, if you intended to do that.
Naturally, yes, of course.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, Delilah, it does seem that Jane is this person who our host allowed to come into our midst under false pretenses. While the rest of us were not allowed to have our devices, we had a journalist writing about us. Like,
Somebody
it only
had
seems
their
fair that I
device.
would have been allowed to report on this as well to my thousands of fans.
I'll
like
be honest with
didn't.
you guys. Things have been really tough at the manor. We're barely getting by. I've had to lay off so many of the staff, and it's really been weighing on my conscience. And I thought this retreat, would be really good publicity. And I thought, well, if I get a journalist here, and they can take more pictures and get some of the more elusive of our authors, more people would maybe want to come stay at our next writers retreat.
I think that
You should have just let me
Wait,
know.
does
I would
this mean-
have live streamed and given you some
Just a
viewers. I
little
wish you told me,
threatened.
Miss James.
how different she is in reality versus on her platform. You
Does this
present
mean
yourself as a very different person.
I
Does
don't
this mean
know
that
what
you're
you're
not going to be paying maybe guests who are here to speak? Or will that money still be available for guest speakers?
A lot of that depends on the publicity of this unfortunate incident at my manor. This has definitely put a damper on the PR spend that I was trying to, go with. So we'll
Sorry,
definitely have to
excuse
see. We can talk
No.
later, Kennedy.
I
The
also have some
entire reason I took
Kennedy's
this
payment.
was for
because this was supposed to be quite a large sum of money for a speaking arrangement for a medical professional.
yes, exactly.
You seem to know a lot. I know you guys are cousins, but the fact that
We're
you
quite
didn't mention it
close.
before, you're quite close, but you didn't mention it the entire
You
time
think it was
you were
relevant?
here. Quite close enough to know the comings and goings of her bank account and her monetary arrangements.
Why are you so concerned
Close enough to know when my cousin got a really big job that she was excited about.
that you maybe got her somehow?
I did recommend my cousin, yes, because she's very good at her job.
A little nepotism there.
So what does Claire have to do with
would've-
this? Kennedy, were you going to speak to Claire about the illicit activities of one Eleanor James?
No. Claire used to be a client of mine, and she has some unpaid bills with me.
Oh, this seems relevant as well.
Yours.
Yes.
great.
Intriguing developments in the case.
Did you know that she was my ghostwriter?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It seems like some kind of conflict of interest.
Several conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
You said you were going to speak to Claire later in the evening, but you never got a chance to, right?
Correct.
Interesting.
In your professional opinion, would Claire have flung herself out of the window, or would somebody have pushed her? As your client.
We had made a lot of progress when she was my client before she disappeared on me. I don't see...
She disappeared on you.
Yeah, she stopped coming to appointments and the like. That's why I still have money that she owes me.
How much do you think she owes you?
More than $1,000.
Okay. That's
Did
not
you know
so
Claire was
much
going to
in
be
grand
here
scheme
at the
of
retreat
things.
when you took the job?
I did not know.
Pretty interesting that you didn't
Miss
know.
Gray, were you?
Yes.
You had your phone out.
Oh,
Can I ask that you not stream any of this to your audience? This is police.
my apologies. My apologies. That was not made clear at the beginning.
Well,
Oh.
out of respect for the victim, we ask that none of you share any of this online.
Did we want to pause so Joni can take some photos of the dead body, maybe?
Sorry,
Put that on Twitch?
the public is just very concerned about what has
Jane,
happened
don't be
here. They're
morbid.
Very concerned.
I'm not the one being morbid here.
Were you
You
on
were the one that
FaceTime
was here
call with your
reporting on
mom?
all of us.
Or
This is why I'm staying off social media.
were you on a voice call with your mom or a video one?
Oh, just voice. The signal's not good enough here for.
But it is good enough to stream, right?
Live streaming.
It's not very good quality. I will say that, but
We'll probably wrap in about
Followers will be
5 minutes for everyone to make their guesses. Just FYI.
Why,
So-
Kennedy, do you think that she stopped coming to you? Do you have any clue?
No, there was no warning. She was showing up and making good progress, and then one day she just stopped.
how long
She
ago
stopped
was
replying
this?
to my emails about 3 years ago.
Did you know that she had ghostwritten for your cousin? That also seems a lot of conflicts of interest for a medical professional.
I did not know that she had ghostwritten for my cousin. No.
It's weird that she wouldn't tell you.
And so were you were hoping to confront her about money owed to you?
Yes, we started a bit of a discussion downstairs, but it's too unprofessional to do in such a public setting. So I asked her to come and talk to me in private later, hoping that we could maybe figure out something to settle off that debt. But
Is there ever really a good time to confront someone about maybe a very large sum of money owed?
I'm more interested in the fact that she confronted
and
you, Lilith.
That she what? Sorry.
She confronted you, clearly.
That Claire confronted me and
Yeah.
asked who I was.
And
And
no,
wanted
and
my autograph in a creepy way.
wanted your autograph in the book that she wrote for you. And then she falls off your balcony. I find that very suspicious.
I've never made it a secret that I've needed help in the past. I don't have any disdain for ghostwriters like some of the residents here.
She clearly
Well,
had
possibly, if my long career, could it just be that Claire had, maybe gone a little too far, and when she realized that, her hero, Lilith, wouldn't sign her book, she decided that was it for her.
You had originally said that nobody ghost wrote for you, though, Lilith, didn't you? When
No,
you
I
first-
said that someone
No, she fully
wrote
admitted
part
that
of her book.
that she did have help with one of her
I
novels.
had a great experience working with Claire, who I thought was Genevieve at the time.
So she hid that she was ghostwriting for you.
Yes.
Wonder what else she may have been hiding.
Who
About-
knew her
who
as
else was she
Genevieve?
ghostwritten for?
Oh,
that
I
you,
did.
Madeline?
Did. Yeah.
How did
We
you
met at
know
a
her as Genevieve?
We met at a conference years ago.
Interesting. I mean, it just really seems like maybe you just need some help from a ghostwriter, which seems suspicious to me.
No, I would prefer to write all my books myself, even if it does take a little extra time.
12 years.
A little extra time.
Did you speak to Claire, like knowing that you knew her as Genevieve before you came to the retreat?
No. I just when she was here, that was a surprise to see her in the front hall.
An unpleasant surprise?
Well, knowing her background, maybe a little bit, but no, it was fine. It was just, water under the bridge from years ago. Maybe she had changed her complete career by then. I don't know.
What sort of water under the bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, just
Like you just casually met her.
Well, ladies, it's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of people who ghostwrite. So it's, I met her years ago at a conference when I found out she was a ghostwriter. I wasn't, her hugest fan. And then seeing her again here under a completely new name, also still ghostwriting, was just suspicious. I didn't want to make great friends with her. That's all.
Have you had a bad experience with a ghostwriter before?
I was going to ask. Very strong opinions. about
Oh,
ghostwriting.
no, actually, I've never used one.
Have you ever been one?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Even when I was, a journalist in high school, it was all my own pieces.
Oh, you were a journalist as well.
Well, high school journalism, not high journalism like you're doing.
if you saw Claire and you knew her as another name and you thought it was suspicious, why wouldn't you come tell me as your host?
Well, I thought maybe she had changed, or what's that phrase? Turned over a new leaf, perhaps. I wanted to see if anything happened before.
So you would have never considered hiring her to write this next book that's taken you 12 years to write?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Any final questions, or we're going to call it here? Because there's a lot to unravel in a post. So, okay. So we will call that our official. No, Megan, you're good. Call that our official in character session. If anyone, we'll give everyone in the comments maybe a couple minutes to put in your guesses before the word nerds start making theirs, because I'm not super confident people won't respond to anything. So let us know what you think you know, and then we will go and let
suspicious
word
me.
nerds make their accusations. And I wasn't able to keep track of the side chat much at all, so I'm not even sure how much was actually revealed there.
There was
Definitely
some people, yeah. There's some people we drew in.
But I know at least one person messaged me wasn't able to make it. I don't remember what she had. It was Lori. So we'll see if any of this makes sense in the end.
Definitely stabbed myself in the head with those pencils.
Okay, first of all, break character, put us in a different mindset. Everyone's acting was really great. Oh my God. I'm trying so hard not to laugh at some points. Thank you so much.
Megan, you were killing me.
Oh yeah. So it was clap back. So it was
the back and forth between Madeline and Lilith. I was like, oh God, I'm not gonna be able to not laugh at this.
Emma was just.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I know who did this.
Me either.
I have two guesses.
I feel like everybody is a wild card, that one random character that you never know who it was. I feel like it's that.
I have
reading about how to set these up. I'm supposed to have given everybody kind of a potential motive, but I'm not sure they all came out as well as I was potentially thinking. And I'm not some people definitely had a more established motive than others. So,
Tons of money.
Or owing someone a lot of money.
Very shifty over there.
Hey now. And
and Griswold is Jordan. Lilith is also using an alias. Her real name is Ann Dawson, which is very true. No one cracked that mystery, and she subtweets
I don't
Madeline.
hide it.
She's subtweeting Madeline.
She's actually been rage tweeting Madeline for years, complaining about the book.
Oh, so you're one of my crazy fans. Did you bring it to my house?
Not on social media.
A creep does not equal a crazy fan.
Oh yeah, right. I haven't been on social media in years. I don't even know about this. Get someone else to tweet for me.
Yelling into the void.
Yeah.
I need to be heard.
Vanessa thinks Lilith and Kennedy did this together.
Yes.
And Crazy Foxy said, "The lady does protest too much." Say it's Madeline.
Thank you for calling me a lady.
Okay,
also this is something I'm sitting in front of a window right now. The entire time this has been happening, there's been these 3 rabbits just chasing each other around trees and darting in between bushes, and they're so cute and they're so distracting, and now they're back. They're just running around outside. I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing.
trying to keep on
being character, oh my God, this social media
Adorable
people.
bunnies.
I'm writing my book.
That was so good. I got like the Jar Jar Martin vibes were like
Thank you. Thank you.
begging
I
me for
was
my
getting
life.
strong like that, and like Patrick Rothfuss, like very strong.
100%.
Andrew said, I think it's Kennedy, but no way a mystery writer gets caught for a murder. And that's true. You would never catch me.
Okay, so before we go any further, I will go down the line, let each of you make your guesses, and then we will have our reveal. So we will start from the bottom with Miss Liz Wilson. What do you think?
I think it's Madeline. I think that she got the ghostwriter to write her book for her and then murdered her.
Oh, damn. Okay.
You don't want anyone to know.
I agree. I think that's exactly what happened. I think that Claire was contracted to write the sequel, and before it comes out, Madeline had to hide her tracks, and she's been so adamant about never needing a ghostwriter, it could never get out that she used one.
And Joni?
I think it's Madeline, but I actually think that Claire wrote her earlier books and they had a falling out, and that is why there has not been a third book.
This needs to be an actual.
Dang. That's a good guess.
That's a really
And
good
Kennedy?
motive.
I also think it was Madeline.
Really?
Yep.
See, my second guess, can I do like my second guess would
Sure.
be? Okay, my second guess would maybe be Joni. Because like something about Madeline also potentially ghostwriting her book, but she protested that it wasn't really her writing her book. So I think
She was
that would
my
be
second guess too.
Yeah. Yep.
Lilith?
I had two guesses. My top one was Madeline. My second one was Kennedy. My own cousin. But yeah,
Throw her
I think it was
under the
Madeline.
bus.
Betrayal.
And Madeline?
I think it's Joni. I get like wild card. Like I don't know. I have a weird feeling.
All right. So I kind of expected you to confess at this point because it was definitely Madeline, and all of your reasons were better than what I came up with. So.
Yes, I am the murderer, but not for the reason that you would think. Apparently, this was all a terrible accident. So here we go.
I mean,
so
you hit her.
I mean, I did. So after I think I just like punched her. I have like a wicked right hook. I don't know.
Punched her.
I think I did. It's according to, or Kelly, would you like to tell the story?
No,
Or
go
do-
ahead. Please
Okay,
do.
so apparently, Claire and
Wait,
Will
you don't
did have a
believe
fight. Allegedly, yes. So Claire and Lilith did have a fight in Lilith's room, Claire's room. Sorry. Wait, no, Lilith's room?
Lilith's
In your room.
Yes.
They had a fight, and Lilith ran out, and I go in there. I accuse Claire of being this, past ghostwriter and like ghostwriting. And then I just confront her about her real identity, and she kind of hits me back with the like, well, if you had a ghostwriter, then maybe you'd have a book out, and like I can help you. And I get I know she's not wrong, but then I get so mad that I just punch her. She falls off the balcony. And she has like a grip, and I'm like, I'm not going to help you, and I just
I'm gonna
leave. And
Lion
that's it.
King you.
So I didn't actually push her over, but I definitely didn't help her survive.
Yes. And if someone else hadn't done something somewhat untoward, she probably would have just hit a wall.
Yeah,
So- So can anyone
In a
explain
moment of
why the
passion.
balcony was open, or
Why was the balcony open? Eleanor.
So, as we all know, Liz is actually Jane, right? Jane. And so to get some better shots of, some maybe more personal pictures of our guests, I opened up all the doors and the balcony, to air it out. So that's
You'll be
why.
hearing from my lawyer.
Like need to get some bedroom shots.
That was a great exit.
Andrew in the comments, bad pun. Now Claire is literally a ghostwriter.
Oh, no.
That's great.
All right. I guess I don't know. I guess I was too dramatic. You all guessed it.
You just have
Because
like,
I honestly didn't pick the murderer till like the end of like I wrote everybody's stories, and then eventually had to like, okay, so somebody's got to kill somebody. Of like I built up all of these like past lives, so the murder maybe wasn't as plotted in as would traditionally be recommended.
no, it's good because like I think that Rachel really like portrayed this like frustration with people they want the 12th book and she's so freaking sick of it, so that when so and so offered to ghostwrite, she just fucking punched her. Like, I feel like that fits.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's there.
The journalist is fine with the murder.
It's going to be a great climax in my new book.
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely
truly,
like
some of this,
seemed
like-
more suspicious than I was. It was literally just that like she offered to ghostwrite for me, and I was like, I don't know, I don't really want I want to write my own book, but also like I'll consider it kind of thing. But I didn't want people to know I was considering it because I was embarrassed. That was it.
It just reminded me of like, because there is a girl that was like an influencer, and then her friend wrote her book for her and then ghosted her essentially.
I've read that article.
Yeah, and it was wild. So I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
And Griswold says, if I was going to guess who done it at the WordNerds inaugural murder mystery night, Rachel would have been at the bottom of my list. Only Emma was less likely in my book, and I did give some thought. So
thank
like,
you.
who's going to look suspicious?
I was trying to guess beforehand. I was like, which of us would Kellie pick to be the murderer? And so going in, I was like, maybe it's
I
Emma.
knew you'd think that.
Well, I feel like if you won't be Megan, because Megan's too obvious.
She was like the red herring through and through.
Easily.
Just by being Megan, she's the winner.
For sure.
And the murder mystery writer.
Details.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was funny.
That was good.
Faster than I thought it would be. So
That was very
That
fun.
was good. That was very fun.
That was very fun.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yes.
Round of
Yes,
applause
thanks,
to
Kelly.
Thanks,
Writing our
Kelly.
story out. That was great.
And thank you so much to everyone who was participating in the comments. We didn't get to like read every single comment like we normally do, but it was so fun, and like we did read them all.
which is kind of how I wanted it, of like it's just kind of this chaos in the background and everyone might pick up something different. Because like I feel like if you just like lay out all the clues, because like some of our guests definitely had some valuable things, but if you have to put it in chaos or it's too easy. Yesterday we were actually doing a bachelorette party for Des, and we were talking about how we would love to do something like this in person, where we get to do like a murder mystery dinner and everyone stay in character. It'd be so
Oh my
much fun.
god, yes, that'd be
Yeah,
so
that'd be
fun.
amazing. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
There are like the kits you can get for it, where like even the host can have like a character that they're playing, and you have to work together to like figure out who did
I
it.
found a kit at Winners. I almost bought it. It was like a murder on a cruise. That would have been so good.
But I was telling, I think some of you last night, that after I'd already done the like intro video, setting it up at a writer's retreat, I found on Etsy a Zoom murder mystery prepackaged thing that was like murder on a haunted house tour. And I know some of you would have eaten that up. And it came with like a pre-recorded like voiceover with the clues and stuff.
Oh wow.
So that would have been really
Next
cool.
Next time.
Definitely next time. That could definitely be like our game night and like Halloween time.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be
fun.
fun.
That's
that'd
a
be
good
perfect.
idea.
And then we could all be in crazy costumes.
Yes!
Oh my god.
Halloween costumes. It'd be
So I only
fun.
read through like bits of that one, and like some of it was like one of the characters was an actor from one of the houses who like dressed up as a corpse or something. So like it'd be fun Halloween characters.
So fun. We should definitely.
And Griswold votes yes, Megan most likely to revel in the chaos.
That tracks.
Not even for Halloween. I vote we do this again soonish.
Tomorrow.
Another one tomorrow.
Oh dear.
I think a lot of it, because even after when I was like scrambling trying to figure out like how do I place clues, there's like free ones online and stuff, and some of them do like let the host not know who it is and just kind of run through it. So we got options. We could do this. I mean, there's so many game nights I want to do, but we're kind of changing our
It's
format.
our channel.
too,
No rules.
Yeah, we can
Well,
do
we
that.
want.
Yes.
This was fun.
It was so much fun.
We're actually and Griswold, Kelly, how did you plan this? Chaotically. I wrote about 5,000 words total between like guest characters, their characters, the itinerary, the backstory.
Wow.
That's why I was like, there's no way my brain didn't like drop something somewhere and not give someone information they were supposed to have or something like that.
We
Because
should do a thing on our TikTok sometime about like how you planned it at WordNerds vlog on TikTok.
That's a good plan. So I was like, I was trying so hard not to laugh when Kelly was like, so, you know, like Lilith and Kennedy, you guys are cousins. We're like, oh shit, we are.
I truly thought you said Claire, and I was like, did Kelly leave bombshells for us?
Wait, somebody asked me how old I am, and I was like, I don't know how old. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That made me lose my mind.
Well, I was expecting, because I don't think, Lilith set it up so Kennedy would be there hoping to confront Kennedy. I don't think
Kennedy owes me $20,000.
Oh,
I
damn.
didn't have a number written in mine.
Oh.
I just knew I owed you a lot of money.
But I was expecting Kennedy to react when like her cousin's in the room. And this, like, all the guests come down and we're talking about a murder. And hey, I know you, but no, but it's super cool.
I thought that we knew that I had arranged for her to be here.
I didn't have it written in, but I was also kind of like, you're a well-known mystery author, so the fact that you're at a writer's retreat isn't that crazy.
Yeah.
I just kind of figured I kind of refused to call you Lilith, so I was like, I'm not gonna.
I really liked being called Lilith. That was fun.
I bet you
felt
did.
Really powerful. This whole name just felt very powerful. I was like, wow, the things you can do with a pen name.
Lilith is a great pen name.
Is this going to be your pen name now?
Oh yeah, I'm just going to get amazing.
I feel like Madeline, so this is like my thing when I first saw this name, like Madeline Pendergrass is a name to me, like I'm a 40-year-old female author who writes middle grade about girls and dragons. Like that's all I think about when I think of this. So I was trying to be like, okay, well, I'm a New York Times bestselling YA novelist. So I was like, all right, what is like, you know, what would this person write? So
and Liz Wilson is very obviously.
I never even put it on her sheet because it wasn't actually relevant. But in my head, it was like everyone always thought Madeline Pendergrass was like your pseudonym, but it was your real name, and no one ever believed you.
I love that.
People
I loved
you searching for your real name.
Yeah. I loved at the beginning when Erin was like, I'm just a new writer. Like, I'm so excited to be here. It's like so many cool people. I was like, all right, it's a good one.
Yeah, she actually has a lot of contempt for your profession. So.
The secret contempt. Well, I was trying to get all these like hints in about like inauthenticity or being inauthentic and having different personas, you know. Because that's what my nonfiction book is about.
I actually have one more question, but I have to look something up in my notes first to make sure I'm not the one that I want to ask how you guys figured something else out, but did I just tell you? I don't think so, though. Where's my little guest list? Where's the list I sent you guys? 2 seconds.
I want to do it again because I want another alter ego because that was really fun.
How did we figure out? And I think it was someone in the comments because, like, it was supposed to be more of a reveal that Claire was a ghostwriter, but it was just like common knowledge right off the bat.
I kind of guessed it because your description of her.
Oh yeah, is that she's written a lot of books, but not her own.
Yeah, she's been writing professionally for years, but has never written her own book. So I was like, oh, she's a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Oh, I just tried to like make a dig at it like as fast as I could in this game to like make people know I didn't like her.
All right. I guess we can probably wrap here, like almost exactly an hour. We are back next week with a read-in to kick off our 3-week readathon, which we'll have some fun stuff for. We're going to be doing that during our hiatus. We're going to be taking, I think, 2 weeks off, and then we're back on a Sunday.
Something like that.
That lines up to 2 weeks.
We'll post it all over social media.
So thank you all so much for joining us. This was so much fun. We will absolutely do this again sometime because I very much want to play. Thank you all for being here. We have videos Tuesday and Thursday this week still. Yep, that's what we're doing. Yep. Okay. Thank you all. And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.